Kai stepped onto the Aurora, the sleek interstellar transport ship, with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The ship was alive with lights, gentle hums, and soft murmurs of other passengers finding their seats. He clutched his small bag tightly, glancing around at the metal walls and bright displays that seemed alive with tiny blinking lights. It felt like stepping into a dream, one he had imagined since childhood. He found his assigned seat by the window. It was slightly narrower than he had hoped, but the view made up for it. The stars stretched out in a brilliant display, streaking past as the ship prepared to leave orbit. Kai pressed his hand to the cool glass, feeling the vibrations of the engines beneath him. This is it, he thought. The start of something big. As he gazed at the stars, a soft voice broke his thoughts. Isn't it beautiful? Kai turned to see a young woman with short dark hair and bright green eyes, standing nearby. She wore a simple uniform like his, and a small backpack hung over her shoulder. Yes, Kai replied, smiling. It feels endless. I'm Mara, she said, extending a hand. I'm a scientist. I study alien ecosystems. Kai, he said, shaking her hand. I'm an engineer. I'll be helping with ship systems and repairs if needed. Their handshake lingered slightly longer than normal, an unspoken recognition of shared excitement. Neither said it aloud, but both felt it, the thrill of leaving their home world, stepping into the unknown. As the ship prepared for launch, the cabin lights dimmed, and the stars outside became even brighter. Kai pressed his forehead to the glass, watching the familiar blue of his home planet shrink. He felt a tug of longing mixed with hope. His entire life had been a preparation for this moment. Years of study, training, and dreaming had led him here, to a small window seat on a ship moving toward a distant colony. Mara sat across from him, also staring out the window. Every now and then, their eyes met, and a small smile passed between them. Neither spoke, but both felt a strange connection, as if the stars themselves had pulled them together. The ship's engines hummed louder. Outside, the planet's atmosphere blurred into streaks of light. Kai felt his stomach twist in excitement, but he also felt a calm presence settle over him. He had prepared for emergencies, studied every procedure, yet nothing could fully prepare him for the beauty of leaving a planet behind, floating into space. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. They watched distant moons, asteroid belts, and tiny glowing comets pass by. Mara finally spoke. Do you ever wonder what's out there? Beyond the stars we can see. All the time, Kai replied. It's why I became an engineer. I want to understand. I want to build things that help humans survive out here. Every new world is a challenge, but also a chance. Mara nodded. I feel the same about science. Discovering something unknown, something no human has ever seen, it's like touching the edge of infinity. They fell silent again, letting the hum of the ship and the endless stars fill the space between them. Kai felt something shift inside him. It wasn't just excitement anymore, it was a desire to share this journey, to have someone beside him who understood the awe of space. He glanced at Mara, who was still watching the stars, and felt a quiet warmth spread through him. The ship's AI voice interrupted their thoughts. All passengers, please secure personal belongings and prepare for routine system checks. Kai adjusted his seat and bag, while Mara checked her data tablet. They worked quietly, but their glances met several times. Even in the routine of a space journey, a subtle bond was forming, one built on curiosity, respect, and the simple joy of shared wonder. As night fell outside the cabin, the stars grew brighter and more distant. Kai rested his head against the window, feeling the gentle vibration of the engines. Mara leaned slightly closer, sharing the small space of the window seat. For the first time in a long while, Kai felt a mix of excitement and peace. The universe was vast and unknown, but it felt less lonely with someone beside him. And so, with stars streaking past and the quiet hum of the aurora beneath them, the journey truly began. The window seat was no longer just a place to watch the stars, it was a place where dreams, desires, and possibilities could meet. For Kai and Mara, the adventure was not just about reaching a distant colony, it was about discovering the boundless potential of humanity, and perhaps, the beginnings of a deep, human connection that could last across the stars. The aurora glided smoothly through the emptiness of space, a silver streak against the darkness. Kai had grown comfortable in his window seat, tracing the paths of stars as they moved past. Mara sat nearby, her tablet glowing softly, full of charts and alien maps she had been studying. They had learned each other's names, shared small laughs, and begun to talk about dreams, but a quiet energy lingered between them, unspoken yet undeniable. Kai leaned back and sighed. "Do you ever feel like the stars are watching us?" he asked, his voice soft. Mara looked up from her tablet, her green eyes thoughtful. "Sometimes," she said. "I think they are more like guides. They remind us how small we are, but also how much we can do if we try." Kai smiled. "I like that. Humans can survive in the most impossible places if we work together." Mara nodded. "Exactly. That's why I study alien ecosystems. We can learn from everything, even life that isn't human. Every discovery is a step forward." Kai watched her as she spoke, captivated not only by her words but by the quiet confidence in her voice. He realized that in all his training, in all the books and simulations he had studied, he had never met someone who saw the universe in the same way he did. And somehow, in this quiet corner of the ship, beside the streaking stars, he felt a growing admiration for her. Their conversation continued, effortless and easy. They spoke of planets they had read about, of distant colonies humans had tried to settle, and of strange stars and nebulae they both dreamed of exploring. Each story they shared seemed to build a bridge between them, a connection formed not just from shared space, but from shared wonder. Hours passed unnoticed. The cabin around them hummed with the quiet rhythm of the ship, but Kai and Mara seemed lost in their own world. Occasionally, the ship's announcements interrupted them, reminders of meals, minor checks, and routine safety messages, but they paid little attention. They were explorers already, in a smaller way, discovering each other's thoughts, hopes, and small fears. Kai leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Do you ever get scared?" he asked. Mara considered for a moment. "Yes. Space is beautiful, but it's also dangerous. You can't forget that even for a second. But fear isn't a reason to stop. It's a reason to prepare. To think. To act." Kai nodded, impressed. "That's true. I suppose that's why I became an engineer. I like to fix problems before they become disasters. And that's why I became a scientist," Mara said with a faint smile. "To understand the unknown before it overwhelms us." The words hung in the air, comfortable and powerful at the same time. Kai realized that this conversation, quiet as it seemed, was more than small talk. It was a way to understand the human heart, the human mind, and the human spirit, all in the context of something bigger than themselves. At one point, Kai glanced out the window and saw a comet streak past, leaving a thin glowing tail behind. "Look at that," he whispered. "It's like the universe is showing off." Mara leaned close, her face illuminated by the comet's faint glow. It's incredible. Sometimes I feel like these moments are rare, and yet, we get to see them just because we chose to leave our home and take this journey. Kai smiled, feeling a warmth he couldn't name. I'm glad we're seeing it together, he said softly. Mara's eyes met his for a brief second, and then she looked back out the window. The silence that followed was comfortable, filled with stars, dreams, and a sense of quiet companionship. They didn't need to speak. The shared view, the streaking light, and the gentle hum of the aurora said enough. Later, the ship experienced a mild turbulence as it passed near a small asteroid cluster. Lights blinked, and a low warning hum filled the cabin. Kai's training kicked in immediately. He checked the panel in front of him, noting the minor fluctuation in the ship's systems. Mara moved beside him, her tablet already analyzing the cluster. Looks like nothing serious, she said calmly, her fingers flying over the controls. Just minor course adjustments. We're safe. Kai exhaled, feeling relief wash over him. You handle danger well, he said with a grin. Mara shrugged lightly. I've had to. Every discovery comes with risk. You just learn to trust your skills and your team. Their laughter was quiet, but it carried a lightness that made the vast emptiness of space feel less lonely. Together, they watched the stars again, feeling a little braver, a little more connected, and a lot more alive. The window seat had become more than a place to watch the universe, it was a place where trust, admiration, and human connection began to grow. Kai realized that the journey ahead would be full of challenges, but he no longer felt alone. Mara was beside him, sharing his excitement, his curiosity, and his desire to explore the unknown. And in that quiet corner of the aurora, with stars racing past and the endless black of space outside, Kai understood something profound. Humanity's greatest strength was not just courage or skill but the ability to share wonder with one another. The aurora sailed smoothly through the endless black of space, but the calm was about to break. Kai had been watching the stars streak past the window, tracing their patterns with quiet fascination, when a sudden jolt shook the cabin. Lights flickered and the gentle hum of the engines shifted into a low, alarming tone. Minor turbulence, Kai muttered at first, but the warning lights told another story. He quickly rose from his seat and moved to the control panel near the center of the cabin. The screen showed a cluster of small asteroids drifting dangerously close to their path. Mara came up beside him, her tablet ready. The automated shields are active, she said. But one of the systems is failing. If it goes out completely, we could take serious damage. Kai's heart sped up, but his hands moved steadily. I can reroute power from non-essential systems to the shields, he said, fingers flying over the controls. You help monitor the asteroid paths and tell me which ones are most dangerous. Mara nodded, her calmness reassuring. Got it? There are 5 major asteroids on a collision path. 3 are large enough to damage the hull if we don't adjust course. Together, they worked in perfect synchrony. Kai rerouted power and made tiny adjustments to the engines, while Mara calculated the trajectories and warned him of sudden shifts. The cabin shook occasionally as smaller rocks bounced off the ship's outer shields, sending vibrations through the floor. It's closer than I expected, Mara said, her voice steady but her eyes wide. Another one's coming from the starboard side. Kai twisted knobs and pressed buttons, rerouting energy again. I see it. Diverting shields, now. The asteroid grazed the side of the ship, a spark flashing briefly on the main screen. Kai exhaled slowly, feeling both relief and exhilaration. That was close. Mara allowed herself a small smile. Good work. We make a good team. Kai chuckled, despite the tension. I think we just earned a lot of points for human ingenuity. As the Aurora cleared the asteroid field, the cabin lights returned to their soft glow, and the engine hum settled back into its gentle rhythm. Kai and Mara leaned against the window seat together, watching the stars streak past as if nothing had happened. That was intense, Kai said, shaking his head. I didn't think the first danger would hit so soon. Mara nodded. Space doesn't wait. That's why preparation matters. But we handled it? Kai looked at her, admiration shining in his eyes. You were amazing. Calm, smart. I couldn't have done it without you. You too, Mara said softly, glancing at him. We both did it. That's what makes humans strong. We rely on each other. A quiet moment passed between them. Kai felt his heart beat faster, not from fear anymore, but from a connection he couldn't ignore. Mara looked back out the window, and he followed her gaze. The stars were brighter now, almost triumphant, as if celebrating their success. You know, Mara said after a pause, it's strange. Before this journey, I always imagined danger as something terrifying. But when it comes, facing it together makes it something else. Almost inspiring. Kai smiled. I know exactly what you mean. It's not the danger itself, it's how we respond. That's what matters. And seeing it with someone who understands, it's different. The rest of the journey passed quietly, though both remained alert. Kai double-checked systems, and Mara reviewed the asteroid field maps again. But even in the quiet moments, they felt a growing bond. The window seat had become more than just a place to watch the universe, it was a shared space of trust and understanding. By the time the first routine meal bell rang, Kai and Mara had returned to their seats. Kai leaned his head against the window, letting the gentle vibration of the ship calm him. Mara sat beside him, her shoulder just brushing his, a small but comforting contact. You know, Kai said quietly, I've always wanted to explore space. But I didn't realize how much I'd appreciate sharing it with someone else. It makes everything feel more real. Mara turned slightly, meeting his eyes. I feel the same. Humans are strong, not just because of skill or knowledge, but because we can care for each other while facing the unknown. That's our real power. Kai nodded, feeling the truth of her words. He pressed his hand lightly to the window, imagining the infinite stars beyond. Mara mirrored him, their reflections overlapping in the glass. The universe stretched endlessly, but in that small space by the window seat, two humans had found courage, companionship, and a sense of wonder that neither had expected. The Aurora continued its flight, leaving the asteroid cluster behind. But for Kai and Mara, the first real test of danger had done more than threaten the ship, it had revealed the strength of human connection and the brilliance of human ingenuity. And as they watched the stars together, both knew that the journey ahead would hold even greater challenges, mysteries, and discoveries. And through it all, the window seat would remain their refuge, their vantage point, and the place where dreams and courage intertwined. The Aurora slipped out of the empty black of space and entered the orbit of a distant, uncharted planet. Kai pressed his face to the window seat, breath catching at the sight. Below, mountains floated above shimmering rivers, and forests glowed with colors he had never seen. The air shimmered with strange light, painting the surface in shifting shades of gold, violet, and green. Mara joined him, her tablet forgotten in her lap. It's breathtaking, she whispered. Her eyes reflected the alien glow, wide with awe. I've read about planets like this, but seeing it, it's different. Alive. Kai nodded, unable to tear his gaze away. It's like the planet itself is breathing. Everything is connected. You can feel it even from up here. The ship slowed as it approached a safe landing zone. Kai and Mara remained at the window, silent for a moment, absorbing the strange beauty. Then Kai turned to Mara. Do you think humans could survive here? Mara smiled thoughtfully. With care and preparation, yes. Life adapts to every environment. And humans, we adapt too. This planet is a challenge, but it's also full of opportunity. Kai felt a thrill of excitement. He had spent years dreaming of exploring new worlds, but this was more than he had imagined. The first human steps on this alien surface would be dangerous, but the rewards of discovery were endless. The landing was smooth, and soon the Aurora rested on a glowing plain that stretched for miles. Kai stepped out first, feeling the firm but slightly springy ground beneath his boots. The air was breathable, though it had a faint shimmer of electricity, making hairs on his arms tingle. Mara followed closely, her eyes scanning the landscape. We need to take samples, she said, kneeling near a strange blue plant that glowed faintly. This could tell us a lot about how life survives here. Kai crouched beside her, examining the soil. The ground feels alive, he said. It's soft, but there's resistance, like it has structure. Incredible. Together, they collected samples, carefully cataloging each discovery. The forests nearby shimmered, and from the distance, Kai could see floating rocks hovering above the ground. This place isn't just alive, he said. It's intelligent, in a way. It reacts to us. Mara nodded. Everything is connected. Look at how the rivers glow. They respond to the sunlight differently than any Earth river would. This planet has a rhythm, a life of its own. They wandered further, discovering strange creatures that moved like shadows across the glowing vegetation. Some were small, darting between rocks, while others floated slowly, almost like jellyfish in the air. Mara observed quietly, taking notes and recording data. Kai watched her, admiration growing. You have an incredible way of noticing things, he said softly. Even in all this beauty, you see the details that matter. Mara glanced at him, a faint smile playing on her lips. We need to understand it to survive. And to learn. Humans thrive when we study and adapt. That's what makes us strong. Hours passed as they explored, taking in every wonder the planet offered. The sun, or what looked like a sun, dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky in colors more vivid than any Kai had ever seen. He felt a quiet sense of humility. Humanity was small in this vast universe, yet capable of remarkable discovery. Mara turned to him, eyes shining. Imagine what humans could achieve here if we worked together. We could create colonies, learn from this world, and adapt. The possibilities are endless. Kai felt a thrill of hope. It's not just about survival, he said. It's about growing, exploring, and discovering. Humans can leave a mark, not by destroying, but by learning and adapting. That's our real strength. As night fell, strange lights flickered across the horizon. Kai and Mara returned to the Aurora, carrying samples and data. They settled back into the window seat, watching the alien world glow beneath them. You know, Kai said quietly, I think this is what I've been dreaming of. Not just space, or adventure, but moments like this. Moments where humans and the universe meet, and we realize what we can do. Mara nodded, her hand brushing his slightly as they leaned closer to the window. This planet shows us that life is everywhere, and humans have the ability to rise to every challenge. Courage, curiosity, connection, that's what makes us remarkable. Kai pressed his forehead against the glass, feeling a sense of peace and determination. Mara's presence beside him made it even stronger. They were not just observers of the universe, they were part of it. And the window seat had become a place where hope, discovery, and human spirit could shine. As the Aurora prepared for the next leg of its journey, Kai and Mara looked out at the alien horizon together. Stars sparkled above, and the glowing world below promised adventure, knowledge, and perhaps even more moments where humans could prove the strength of their spirit. The journey had only just begun, but Kai knew one thing clearly: whatever the universe held, humans could face it and they could do it together. The glowing forests of the alien planet stretched endlessly before Kai and Mara as they moved cautiously toward a structure partially hidden behind towering luminous trees. From a distance, it looked ancient, a perfect combination of strange architecture and nature. Mara's eyes widened. Kai, this looks like it wasn't made by nature. Someone built it? Kai nodded, stepping closer. It could be an old alien facility. Maybe abandoned, or left for exploration. He brushed his fingers over the surface of the glowing walls, feeling a faint vibration, as if the structure itself was alive. It's strange. The material, it's not like anything on Earth. Smooth, strong, and somehow, warm. Mara crouched near an entrance, scanning the surface with her handheld device. I'm picking up faint energy signals inside. Not much, but definitely active in some way. Kai took a deep breath. We should go in. Carefully. They entered the facility, stepping into a large chamber filled with softly glowing symbols on the walls. The air smelled faintly of ozone and minerals. The lights responded to their movements, brightening and dimming as if the building was aware of their presence. Mara walked slowly, her fingers hovering over the symbols. These look like records, maybe messages or instructions left by whoever lived here. If we can decode them, it could tell us a lot about this planet. Kai examined a large, glowing panel in the center of the room. It looks like a storage unit, some kind of database. He pressed a hand to the surface, and the light shifted, revealing holographic images of alien life forms, maps of ecosystems, and diagrams of strange machines. Wow, Mara whispered. They preserved everything. Knowledge, technology, maybe even culture. Kai smiled, feeling a mix with excitement. Humans do the same, in our own way. But seeing it from another civilization, it's incredible. It shows how life can survive and adapt, even in ways we can't imagine. They moved through the facility, discovering more rooms filled with glowing symbols and holographic displays. Mara took careful notes, her fingers flying over the tablet as she recorded everything. Every room tells a story, she said. They weren't just scientists or builders, they cared about preserving knowledge. They wanted the next beings who arrived here to learn and survive. Kai felt a sense of inspiration. That's the best part of exploration, he said. Learning from others, even those long gone. Humans can do the same. We survive, we adapt, and we pass on what we know. As they explored, a faint hum began to resonate through the facility. The symbols pulsed in sync with the sound, and the air shimmered around them. Mara looked at Kai, a mixture of fear and awe on her face. The place is alive, in a way. Not conscious like humans, but connected. Everything reacts to us. Kai nodded, his hand resting on a glowing console. It's a reminder that life can take many forms. And that humans can rise to meet it. Curiosity and courage can unlock anything. Suddenly, a small door slid open, revealing a narrow corridor leading deeper into the facility. Mara glanced at Kai. We should go further. There could be more knowledge here, more to learn. They advanced carefully, their footsteps echoing softly. Strange machines hummed and shifted, reacting to their presence. Kai felt a thrill of discovery. Every new room offered another glimpse into the life of the aliens, their understanding of ecosystems, their technologies, and their desire to preserve knowledge. Mara stopped at a large holographic display showing the planet's ecosystem in vibrant color. Look at this, she said. It's a complete record. How plants, creatures, and rivers interact. They studied balance. They studied survival. Kai leaned closer, awed. It's beautiful. They wanted to teach anyone who came after them, just like humans hope to do with our discoveries. For hours, they explored the facility, cataloging data, and taking samples. Each room deepened their admiration for the alien civilization and reminded them of humanity's potential. They realized that survival wasn't just about strength, it was about learning, adapting, and passing on knowledge. As the alien sun began to dip behind floating mountains, Kai and Mara returned to the Aurora, carrying data and samples that could change humanity's understanding of life in the universe. The window seat waited for them, a place to rest and reflect on everything they had learned. Kai pressed his forehead to the glass, thinking of the alien world below. Humans can face anything, he said quietly. If we stay curious, brave, and connected, there's nothing we can't do. Mara leaned close, her hand brushing his on the console. And we can do it together. That's what makes humans remarkable. The window seat became more than a view of the stars, it became a place of reflection, learning, and human potential. The alien facility had revealed secrets of a world far from home, but it had also shown Kai and Mara something even more important, the power of knowledge, courage, and connection. As the Aurora prepared for the next leg of the journey, the stars outside sparkled brightly. Kai and Mara sat together, ready for the challenges ahead, knowing that humanity's spirit could illuminate even the darkest corners of the universe. The alien sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the glowing plains. Kai and Mara had spent the day cataloging the discoveries from the ancient facility, carefully storing samples and data for their return to the Aurora. The planet was calm, or at least, it seemed so. But suddenly, the ground trembled beneath their boots. A low roar filled the air, and dark clouds swirled violently above the floating mountains. Kai looked up, alarm flashing in his eyes. A storm, and it's coming fast. Mara's tablet beeped urgently, detecting high winds and unusual energy surges. We need to return to the ship immediately. The storm is stronger than anything the sensors have predicted. They ran across the glowing plains, dodging strange flora that bent and swayed in the violent gusts. The storm was unlike any they had encountered, a mix of high winds, shimmering energy strikes, and floating debris. Kai's heart pounded, but his mind stayed focused. We can make it, he shouted over the roar. Just keep moving. Mara nodded, her face set with determination. We have to protect the samples. Everything we've collected, it's crucial. Kai glanced at the crates they were carrying. The data and specimens were vital for humanity's understanding of the planet, but the storm was growing stronger by the second. He realized that if they stayed too long, they risked being trapped or worse. We have to split the load, he said, grabbing a crate. I'll carry some, you carry the rest. We move faster that way. Mara agreed, and they dashed toward the Aurora, using every ounce of energy to fight the wind and floating debris. Lightning-like sparks of alien energy flashed around them, illuminating the strange landscape in brief, brilliant bursts. Kai felt a rush of fear, but also a deep determination. This was more than survival, it was a test of human courage, teamwork, and ingenuity. Halfway to the ship, a massive gust knocked Kai off his feet. He tumbled across the glowing ground, the crate sliding beside him. Mara grabbed his arm, pulling him up with a strength that surprised him. "Come on, Kai. We're almost there." They scrambled the final distance to the Aurora, breathless and battered, but safe. Kai secured the cargo inside the ship while Mara ran the samples through quick scans, making sure nothing was damaged. The storm raged outside, battering the ship's outer shields. Kai pressed his hands to the window, watching glowing debris swirl past. That was close. Too close. Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. "But we did it. Together. That's what humans do, we adapt, we act, and we survive." Kai nodded, feeling a surge of admiration for her. "You were incredible out there. Calm, focused, nothing could shake you." Mara smiled faintly. "We both were. That's why humans can face anything. Not because we're fearless, but because we have each other. And courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action despite it." The storm began to subside, leaving a quiet, glowing twilight behind. Kai and Mara sat together at the window seat, their hands brushing slightly as they leaned forward to watch the alien planet. The violent display had shown them the fragility of life, but also the power of human determination. Kai's voice was soft. I understand something now. Desire isn't just for exploration or discovery. It's for connection, courage, and purpose. That's what keeps us moving, even when the universe throws everything at us." Mara's eyes met his. "And that's what makes humans remarkable. We survive, we learn, and we care for each other while facing the unknown." The Aurora hummed gently, carrying them safely above the alien world. Kai pressed his forehead to the glass, feeling the vibration beneath him, and Mara leaned close. The window seat had become a place of reflection, a place where they understood the meaning of bravery, the importance of knowledge, and the depth of human connection. Kai glanced at Mara, a quiet smile forming. "Whatever challenges are ahead, I know we can handle them. Humans can do more than survive, we can thrive." Mara nodded, her hand lightly touching his. "And we can do it together." Outside, the glowing plains of the alien planet began to calm, returning to their strange, beautiful rhythm. Kai and Mara sat side by side, absorbing the lessons of the storm. It had tested their courage, their teamwork, and their judgment, but most of all, it had strengthened the bond forming between them. The journey was far from over. New worlds awaited, with new challenges and discoveries. But for now, Kai and Mara found peace in the window seat, knowing that humanity's spirit, their spirit, was capable of overcoming even the most violent trials the universe could offer. And as the Aurora drifted above the planet, stars sparkling in the distance, Kai realized that the greatest discoveries weren't only in alien lands, they were in the courage, connection, and potential of humans themselves. The Aurora floated quietly above the alien world, its engines humming softly as Kai and Mara sat together at the window seat. The storm had passed, leaving the planet bathed in soft, glowing light. From their vantage point, the floating mountains shimmered, the glowing forests stretched endlessly, and rivers sparkled like liquid stars. Kai rested his forehead against the glass, feeling the gentle vibration of the ship beneath him. "I still can't believe we made it," he whispered. That storm, the planet, everything. It's more than I imagined. Mara leaned closer, her green eyes reflecting the soft light of the alien Sunday. It's amazing, she said. But it's not just the planet or the discoveries that matter. It's what we learned about ourselves. Humans are capable of so much courage, curiosity, connection. We can face anything, and even thrive in the unknown. Kai nodded, thinking of everything they had seen. The ancient alien facility, the glowing forests, the floating mountains. They had encountered wonders and dangers alike. Each challenge had tested them, but also shown the strength of human spirit. You know, Kai said quietly, I used to think desire meant adventure, seeing new worlds, discovering new things. But now I understand it's also about the people we share it with. That's what makes it meaningful. Mara smiled softly, her hand brushing his against the console. Exactly. Desire isn't just for what's out there in the stars. It's for connection, trust, and shared purpose. That's what humans can give each other. They fell silent for a moment, watching the alien world below. The glowing plains, the strange creatures moving through the forests, and the shimmering rivers all seemed alive, as if acknowledging their presence. Kai realized that the universe was vast, mysterious, and sometimes dangerous, but it was also full of wonder that humans could explore and learn from. Do you think humans could live here someday? Kai asked, his eyes still fixed on the glowing horizon. Mara nodded. With preparation, yes. But it wouldn't just be survival. It would be learning, adapting, and respecting the planet. Humanity thrives when we combine knowledge, courage, and care. That's how we grow. Kai felt a warmth in his chest, a quiet joy that had nothing to do with the adventure itself. I think I want to explore more, he said. Not just for discovery, but for the chance to share it, like we did here. Mara glanced at him, her smile gentle. And you will. Humans are meant to reach for the stars. But the journey is never just about the stars. It's about who we are along the way, and who we choose to share it with. The Aurora shifted its course, leaving orbit and moving back into the vast emptiness of space. Kai and Mara leaned closer to the window, watching the alien planet fade behind them. The glowing forests and floating mountains shrank into the distance, yet the lessons they had learned remained vivid in their minds. Kai let out a deep breath, feeling both awe and contentment. I never imagined a window seat could mean so much, he said softly. It's not just a place to watch the stars, it's where we can reflect, dream, and grow. Mara rested her hand lightly on his shoulder. It's a place of perspective, she agreed. We see the universe, and in doing so, we see ourselves. And humans, we can do remarkable things when we remember that. For a long while, they sat in quiet reflection, letting the hum of the ship and the beauty of space fill the silence. The journey had challenged them, tested their courage, and shown them the power of teamwork, curiosity, and human spirit. But it had also given them something else, a sense of connection that could withstand any distance, any danger, or any unknown. Kai turned to Mara, a small, sincere smile on his face. No matter what comes next, I know humans can face it. And I'm glad we'll face it together. Mara smiled back, her eyes reflecting the distant stars. Together, she echoed. That's what makes the universe feel a little smaller and a lot more possible. As the Aurora sailed into the darkness of space, the stars stretched endlessly before them, each one a promise of new worlds, new discoveries, and new moments of courage and wonder. Kai and Mara knew that humanity's journey was just beginning, that the universe held countless challenges and mysteries, but also that the strength of humans, their curiosity, courage, and connections, would guide them through it all. The window seat, once a simple place to watch the stars, had become a symbol of hope, desire, and limitless possibility. For Kai and Mara, it represented everything humans could achieve when they dared to explore, to learn, and to share their journey with one another. And as the distant stars flickered like diamonds across the black sky, they leaned closer together, ready to embrace whatever new horizons awaited. The universe was vast, but humanity brave, curious, and connected was ready.